Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. But let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now our first story comes from Color Prism, who says, am I the arsehole for calling my mum's fiance a creep? Throwaway. Male 17. We've been going through pretty rough months in my family. There was tension between my mum and dad. They weren't talking to each other, and when they did, it was only to fight. After months of constant fighting, they decided to get divorced. That was 2 years ago. Not gonna lie, when they divorced, the one who suffered the most was my dad. He never put on a sad face when he was with us, but I could hear him cry in his room when he thought we were asleep. For the record, I'm the youngest and have a brother, 19 male, and a sister, 20 female. After this, the fighting didn't stop, so now they fight for which of us loves them more. If I'm honest, my siblings and I are inclined with my dad. He's always taken good care of us, helps us through everything, and he listens to us. Not like my mum. She has never been there. There have always been more important things to attend to or pay attention to rather than us. I never mind it since my dad was always there. My mum is a pretty important lawyer in our city. Meanwhile, my dad has a PhD in physics and works as a college professor. After their divorce, we stayed with my dad. We see my mum like 1 day per week and only if she has time. We kinda never see her because she always reschedules. So months ago, my mum told us she was going to get married to this dude who we'd never seen. His name is Richard, but asked us to call him Rick. She said we should all get along. Since then, it has become a nightmare. Don't get me wrong, he is cool I guess, but I do find him a bit odd. He always tries to spend time with me and buys me stuff like clothes, books, etc. He even asks me when I'm available so we can have dinner. I mean, I'm polite towards him, but I just can't connect with him. I feel like it's a forced relationship, and he is not like that with my other siblings. Well, my dad too. He's civil towards him, but there's definitely tension between them. Last week my brother wanted to try a new recipe. He loves cooking, so he invited my mum and Rick. At first we were surprised my mum and dad kept civil with each other. We were having a nice conversation, but Rick kept complimenting us, specifically me, that I was an incredible person, very smart, blah blah. My dad agreed, but this dude kept insisting we were so much alike and that by spending so much time with him, he considers me already his son. That definitely hurt my dad and I just lose it. I told him to leave me alone, he was being a creep. My dad told me not to call Rick names and my mum did too. She told me that I was being a brat and that I should behave because Rick will be a part of my family and another parental figure to me. I said he wouldn't and that I won't go to her wedding if she marries a creep like him. I stormed off and went to my room. My siblings don't think I'm in the wrong, but my mum insists I was a spoiled brat and I should apologize to Rick. Am I the arsehole? It's the fact that he's just targeting one of you rather than all of you in this situation. If it was all of you and he was buying you gifts and complimenting the lot of you, I would have thought it would have been something along the lines of, you know, just trying to get on your good side, buying your affection, etc, etc. But the fact that it's just one of you is pretty concerning behavior, right? And your mum is just totally wrong in this. Your discomfort isn't being bratty. It's you're picking up on something that is genuinely concerning for you. Doesn't feel right. And what's with him in front of your dad claiming that you're already his son after knowing you what for some months, whilst your dad is sitting right there in front of him? That's incredibly like either sort of tone deaf or deliberately trying to hurt. And regardless of the situation, you don't owe Rick a relationship just because your mum wants to remarry. That's your choice. Commoner says to OP, not the arsehole. This sounds a great deal like grooming to me. And I'd be very careful around Rick. It's possible that his intentions are good and he's just handling it poorly, but trust your gut, bro. If he comes off as creepy, there's probably a reason for that. Don't be alone with him. Lazy Germ says not the arsehole. You're old enough to decide how you want to interact with people. If you get creepy vibes from Rick and that's your gut feeling about him, there is no reason to apologize. Another issue to consider is that perhaps your mum is making Rick act like that, so it normalizes her behavior. Equivalent says, I'll probably be against everybody, but I'd say everyone sucks here / you're the arsehole. Rick might be a little weird to you, but based on what you wrote, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. I do think what he said was weird, and I'm sure it's going to be uncomfortable for you and your dad. The thing is, you shouldn't have lashed out like that. You're still young, even if you're almost an adult in a legal sense. Sure you are, but in an emotional and mental sense, you have a lot to learn. You need to communicate beforehand with your mum and Rick. Learn to have these conversations about setting boundaries. The thing is, he may be trying to build a connection with you since you're his fiance's son. Sometimes people don't know how to build a connection with someone else's kid, so they resort to almost trying to buy a relationship with them because they don't have much in common and don't know what to do. You're not the asshole for feeling this way, and it's understandable. It's just not a healthy way to go about life and things that make you uncomfortable or don't like. Another commenter says, no one's an asshole here. It sounds like Rick is trying too hard to connect with you. He needs to chill and stop trying to force it. You were wrong to lash out, but he was wrong to imply he'd be your father since you're almost an adult and you already have a father. Ultimately, Rick is the adult, so if anyone is the asshole, it is him. It sounds like your parents, Rick, and you should sit down and establish some boundaries for your relationship. You should try to give Rick a chance if he is willing to back off and be reasonable about how long it takes to build a relationship. So Opie edits the post initially and says, damn, I only came here to find out if I was in the wrong. I just don't know what to say to you. I added the quotation marks to be sarcastic since I don't think we look so alike like he says. Now you really have me worried and wondering. I'm assuming that's based on a couple of comments said that Rick is your father instead, and another note said, so I didn't want to address this with my dad right away. So I consulted Anne first, my sis. She's the most intelligent person I know, so I asked her. She had the same feeling as me, that Rick was getting way too close to me, and in comparison to her, he's stone cold. Now every time Rick wants to spend time with me, they'll be there too, Anne and Leo, my brother, and just like you guys, she asked me to talk to my dad. I did. I sat with my dad and told him everything, that I didn't feel comfortable around Rick anymore. I appreciated all the effort, but he was pushing way too hard on my boundaries. And, like you advised, if mum doesn't understand she can't force a relationship with an actual stranger on me, then I'd rather stop seeing her. My dad understood. He asked me to forgive him for not knowing my feelings towards Rick. He did say that Rick is trying as best as he can to get to know each one of us, but he also has no say when we should open up or act like a stalker. He said he'd talk to them, but I told him I'd rather do it since my mum acts like I'm not being serious or worse. We'll have dinner with them, Anne, Leo and I, next Wednesday, so wish me luck. So Opie comes in with an update and says, hi, so this has been a wild week and I wanted to thank you for your comments and suggestions. They helped me through this. As I said in my last edit, we went to dinner. At first, everything was silent, but then Anne broke the ice by thanking my mum and Rick for spending time with us and that we should discuss important matters. I didn't know about this, but my mum has been awful to Anne and Leo this week. They addressed that if she wants us to be a part of her life, then some changes should be made. After they established their points, it was my turn. I started by stating Rick's presence has been bothering me since day one. Even if I should have said something about it, it didn't justify his behavior. I appreciate the effort, but he crossed my boundaries, and even if I'm willing to have a relationship as friends with him, I'd not offer that option anymore if he continues this way. Also, I'll soon be an adult, so I don't need a parental figure. I already have one. Then pointed out that my mum was allowing this kind of behavior, and it is wrong. If she was not willing to act as a parent and understand my feelings, not only mine but my siblings too, then we'd rather cut our losses. My mum tried to justify her actions. Rick told her to shut up and listen to us. She stormed out of the restaurant, but he stayed. He looked sad and apologized for all this. He didn't mean for this to happen. He asked Anne and Leo if they could give us some space so he and I could talk. Leo grabbed me, but Anne gave him a look, so he let go of me and went to a close table. Rick apologized again, saying it's not like that, and the feeling he might not connect with me took out the best on him, then told me he is my bio dad. My mum was supposed to tell me today, but she cowardly left. He doesn't expect me to accept him in my life, but if he ever wants to know him or needs anything, he'll always be there. When we came back home, I asked my dad. He hugged me and told me everything he knew about it. The thing is, they don't know. The reason my parents divorced was because my mum cheated on him after she broke up with Rick. She was pregnant with me. My dad suspected it but never confirmed it. When they divorced, my mum, out of rage, told him I wasn't his son. Then Rick contacted him to talk about it. He told me, however, I feel it's okay. I shouldn't feel pressured to act in a certain way. If I want to get tested, he'll help me, and no matter what that paper says, his love for me won't change. I'll always be his son. I'm not sure how to feel, but I asked Rick to give me space so I could think about all of this. Also asked my dad if we could simply be out of our mum's life. I don't want to be involved with her, and neither my siblings. If I'm honest, I don't know if I ever want to get tested, or at least to allow Rick be a part of my life. But I feel grateful for the family I have, and all the support and love my dad and siblings have been giving to me. That's all I have for you. Edit, hi, and thank you for your comments and even the funny ones. You all made me smile, and I guess I needed that. I really like the Mary Poppins one and the references to Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't express how you all have helped me to appreciate the family I already have, and how blood not equals family. Thank you again for that. I wish I had answers for your questions related to the reason of my existence. As I said, I haven't talked to Rick since that night, and I guess I didn't have the courage to ask. This whole thing has drained me, and I'm not sure if I even want to know. Guess that'll only make things worse. The perception I have of my mum, as if it wasn't bad as it is now, and also in terms of Rick. If she lied to him or not, or why he neglected me for years. For the moment, I don't want to know. I don't think it will add something meaningful to me, so I guess I'll leave it like that for now. One thing I may be doing is getting tested, to have a complete medical record. So thank you again for your comments. They really have impacted me. Some made me cry happy tears. Ugh, the mum's reaction in this situation is so infuriating and tells you a lot about a character, but OP's dad's response in this is exactly why he's your real father, blood or not. His love won't change regardless of what the test comes out and says if you decide to take it. But I'm honestly not sure what I would do in terms of Rick going forward. I can't imagine being in that position and how to deal with it. I think I'd always be curious to know what he has to say, but I'm not sure what else there would be. I mean, like you said, you're an adult now. Especially like you said, you've got a dad who's been there for you this whole time. But how would you deal with it if it was you? What would you say to OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, am I the arsehole because I told my fiance that her academic/work related disappointments are a product of her own choices. I, 29 male, have been with my fiance, 29 female, for around 15 years. We are pretty much inseparable in every aspect, except when it comes to academic dedication and career planning and development. I grew up poor, so my only goal growing up was to have a financial security. This naturally led to me always being hungry for academic achievements. My fiance's family did not have any financial troubles. She was always a party goer, so she never wanted to utilize her potential. She always said that your whole life is not about studying. You should have fun while you're young. And I really tried to match up that lifestyle. We'd spend days doing stuff together, doing whatever she felt like doing. This, as exhaustive as it was, I was running on less than 4 hours of sleep, kept her happy, and I was having fun with her, so I didn't mind. There'd come a time where I declined going out or doing stuff for prolonged amounts of time, usually while crushing deadlines were quickly approaching and I was becoming overwhelmed, and she'd get irritated. I even tried to arrange study dates, but that failed miserably, because she'd always do the bare minimum and then move on, which was considerably faster than what I was able to do. This became an everyday reason to fight. I've completed all my degrees, including masters, with the highest distinction, have landed a high-paying job, and I mainly work from home. You can say that I achieved my goal, and it took a lot of crying to get here, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. She, on the other hand, never got accepted for masters, graduated late, did not get to work in her own field, and struggles to make ends meet on her own to cover her own half of the bills. I've been trying to be comforting, offering her solutions, and reassure her that I don't mind covering up for us. But because I truly love her, and I knew she'd do the same for me. For the past couple of weeks, she'd been blaming everyone for the impasse she has hit. Her teachers for her bad grades, employers for requiring prior relevant work experience, which she has none. Her friends for tempting her to go out. Her parents for not giving her their will/sustaining her. They both like mid-50s. And me for not pressuring her to study enough. I usually shrug it off, understand that she's just frustrated and disappointed, and try to be a good boyfriend for her. Lately, she is also nagging me for not spending time with her. We spend every afternoon together after my shift. So in the culmination of a series of intense discussions, I told her she is the sole person responsible for her current situation, and that she wasted her potential and ultimately rendered herself below average, now facing the consequences. She called me an ass and left the house, and it's been eating me away since. Am I the arsehole? I was all over the place thinking about this one. Was OP right? Was OP wrong? I don't think they're wrong at all in the situation, but I just thought about the way the message was delivered. If that is someone that you love and want to stay with, etc. I mean, rendered themselves below average. Ooh, that's got a sting, right? But I also get that OP would find this blame game exhausting, blaming everyone else for her own issues, right? It also had me thinking about the compatibility between the two of them. They both seem like they're on different levels, which works for some people, but it sounds almost like it isn't working here. Maybe that's wrong to say. Love Light Soul says not the arsehole. I wouldn't say she wasted her potential per se. However, she should not be blaming everyone else for her problems. That's just unrealistic. There are a lot of people who change their minds about possible careers, work in one field for 20 years and decide to do something else, etc. There's no shame in her trying to make these decisions now, but she needs to take responsibility that she waited until now to do so. That is no one's fault but hers. And it's nice that she has someone like you to support and comfort her. Extinct says not the arsehole. This is a case of shoot the messenger. You could have softened the message, but I get that you're tired of her blaming everyone but herself. If she wants to improve, she needs to get the message and get some self-determination. Just make sure she knows you'll support her if she actually tries to make things better. Intelligent Apple says not the arsehole, but also, dude, she's only 29. She's still got time to reinvent herself, given the average US lifespan. I was a late start student. Most of my siblings took the well-trodden path and went to college right after high school. One joined the military, but I went and got married. Then I started community college when I was 27, so my kid could be in free daycare program they offered. I finished my AA when I was 29, my BA when I was 34, and my MA when I was 42, after my kid graduated high school. I worked part-time and studied hard the whole time, and I found a career I loved. Along the way, I found many mentors. One of my professors had started out working in the post office, then gone to college in their 30s and became a professor in their 40s. They became dean after I met them. A lot of my inspirations and mentors reinvented themselves and found new careers in their 30s and 40s. You're never too old to decide what your future will look like. Your girlfriend can still change her narrative, if she decides to. Laffy says everyone sucks here. Yes, she shouldn't be playing the blame game. That's obnoxious. However, you are not the hot shit you think you are. You called your fiance below average. Your fiance. You called the woman you supposedly love and want to marry below average. That's disgusting. Also, if you truly think that's the case, why are you going to marry someone you consider to be so far beneath you? By the way, I'm going to point this out because your hubris irks me. Fiance with one E equals male, fiance with two E's equals female. OP responds to that saying, thanks for pointing it out. I'm not from the US or the UK, so English is not my first language. I'll be sure to know better next time. Just wanted to point out, not defend myself just to make things clearer. I never considered myself to be hot shit. My fiance is way more gifted than me, and I was never the smart kid. I got here only through hard work and struggle because I had no real talent. So no, I don't consider myself to be superior to her or anyone in any way. What I mean with her being below average was in career development and academics, not her whole life. Sorry if it came out wrong. I originally wrote this text right after the fight, so I was not especially cool-headed. Anxious says, do you think you should get married? You seem like very different people. You don't seem to like the same things. You don't seem to communicate well. OP says, this is a troubling matter, not gonna lie. Because on the one hand, I feel that this recurring problem is going to haunt our relationship in a variety of ways in the future. But on the other hand, she's quite perfect in every single other aspect. We have tons of fun together. Until she has those outbursts. I never bring it up because I don't want to provoke a fight. She just starts talking about it and it always ends up in a fight. So OP comes in with their update and says, hi all, I took your feedback in, understood that my phrasing was largely misguided, and stood my ground more firmly against my fiance's accusations while maintaining empathy to the best of my ability. I want to clarify that my previous post wasn't meant to judge others' journey, and I don't criticize anyone based on their academic success. It was specific to the situation presented, and my phrasing was evidently poorly chosen. My mistakenly more abruptly phrased point was that she could have made it in college, but didn't wish to, and while that's okay and completely up to her, she shouldn't blame others for how her career has advanced. I finally contacted my fiance and asked her to meet so we could talk. Apparently both her parents and her sister took my side on the matter. Important for later. She had fled her parents' house and was living with a friend. I told her I loved her and explained how I didn't mean to imply that she squandered her potential irreversibly, and told her that I believe we can fix things if we work together. I apologized for my ill-tasted comment, and I repeatedly told her that my point was never to demean or disdain her, and that I do not consider her to be below me. I tried to explain that none of us obstructed her journey to success, and that we do not bear accountability for her academic path. But we are all here to support her. I encouraged her to try whatever she thinks is best right now, and promised that I'd support her emotionally and financially, so she can make any dream of hers happen and we finally move on. I expected to meet in the middle ground, acknowledge our respective mistakes, and work together to grow our relationship. But I was met with silence at first, a chuckle, and then she told me that I patronize her for offering to cover her bills, followed by her explaining that my support is a way to make myself feel better about my accomplishments, as if, and I quote, I can't make it on my fucking own. She concluded that I was trying to manipulate the situation by acting like the good guy, and that in reality her current situation, professional and with her parents, is my doing. Now, some commenters from the previous post mentioned the above narrative, so I was very conflicted on how to answer the above in a non-condescending way, and wanted to respect their feelings. The best thing I could think of was recommending couples therapy, as per your recommendation, which she declined, saying that throwing more money away won't make up for the emotional neglect. I couldn't answer here, mainly because I was on the verge of crying. After a few minutes of silence, I suggested ending the relationship and she instantly agreed. Thank you all for your comments. They certainly added to me seeing things more spherically and made me a better person than before. I liked the way that OP was dealing with us at the start, that OP apologized and acknowledged the poor delivery in the first post and offered support to her and even suggested professional help, and her response was accusations of manipulation, patronization, and somehow making you responsible for her family relationships too. Part of me thought, was this the plan all along to get out of the relationship? But I don't know if that's actually the case. But it just sounds like she's not ready to be an adult in this situation. And I kind of felt like this is probably the best for you at the moment, which, you know, is always hard to say when someone's relationship has fallen apart. But I hope he's 29 with financial stability, a good career, and is now able to find someone who wants to actually build something together rather than just tear you down for succeeding. What do you guys make of this situation? How did you feel about it? How did you feel about the way OP dealt with it? Did you got a different opinion on the matter? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.